What's up, y'all? Back again with another off-season video. I mean, it's just a crazy start to this off-season, huh? So I do have a lot of stuff listed up here, and we will go in chronological order, in my opinion, in terms of significance or what I found intriguing. Yeah, let's just get started. First major headline, Ja Morant traded to the Portland Trail Blazers in exchange for Jerami Grant and Chris Murray, and that's it. You want to talk about Trae Young being valued really low? This is very close to that, if not topping it. Now, I'm not saying Memphis completely loses this trade because we know that there have been several rumors and reports of Morant's value just being in the gutter. I mean, the fact that even Sacramento of all teams demanded some draft capital if they wanted to take out Morant's contract, I felt like that's all you needed to know. So the fact that you actually didn't have to attach any picks and just, albeit not getting the best return, but you know, they were desperate to move on and they did that. So there's nothing really else that I could really say. I'm not sure if there were any other packages that was worth it. They might have all included attaching some draft capital. So moving on to Portland's side. Well, actually, before we do that, sorry, Jerami Grant. Well, I guess this could be a transition to Portland's side of things. For Portland, getting off that Jerami Grant contract, in my eyes, that's a win. No offense to Jerami, he's still a solid player, but my goodness, that is just too much money to be paying the guy, and you don't have to attach any picks as well. That is a dub in my eyes. And the reason why I want to connect Jerami Grant with Memphis for this brief moment is I'm really worried about, you know, some of the young prospects' development time. Like, I know in a rebuild, guys like Cedric Coward and Taylor Hendricks, they'll still get some PT, but you know, when you're adding two more wings to the collection, it does start to get a little bit worrisome. I mean, especially for Taylor Hendricks, I really hope this doesn't push him out of the rotation. I mean, from what I saw after he got dealt to Memphis, there were some flashes, not every game, but you could see the potential, and he definitely needs more time to shine in order to show who he truly is as a prospect. I'm not saying he should start. I do believe the starting front court should be Boozer and Edey and Coward, obviously, but I feel like he should still have a vital role coming off the bench. I really don't want a similar instance with Utah. Maybe I'm just overreacting, who knows, but on to Portland. Man, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty solid for what you had to give up. It wouldn't hurt because this is the epitome of a low risk, high reward type of deal. I do believe having someone of Ja, despite him having a down year this past season, just his presence driving to the rim with his float game, I believe that can take off a lot of pressure from Deni. Yes, there will be concerns about defense, especially when he pairs up with Dame, but I still believe Portland has enough defensive infrastructure to really combat that issue, especially with Tumani and Donovan Clingan in the front court. I believe they still have the rights for Matisse Thybulle, and hey, if they can re-sign Robert Williams in the offseason, that's just more reassurance for defensive support. And one of the biggest positives in my eyes, the playmaking is going to be so much better with this Trailblazer group. I feel like that's one of the things that gets lost in the argument surrounding this Ja transaction, because no doubt Deni has improved in just pretty much all aspects of his game, playmaking included, but no one else on the roster can really do that. I mean, Damian Lillard, he's not a bad passer, but he's not the best. Like, I would still say he's way behind Deni in terms of playmaking, and now that he's close to his mid-30s coming off of an Achilles injury, it's going to be really tough to suddenly just throw a lot of offensive load on his shoulders. Not saying Dame should be resorted to just catch and shoot because of this trade, but alleviating a lot of the playmaking from both of your other offensive skill talents, that is a big win in my books. And just Ja getting around defenders, I feel like that's going to be just enough, because my goodness, the amount of times where defenses will try to trap Deni Avdija, or Deni's just simply exhausted so he gives the ball up, and those teammates who receive the ball, the amount of times they cannot get past their man, especially on the perimeter, is staggering, way too much for my liking. To be fair, I've seen Jerami Grant and Jrue Holiday, they can sneak in some layups from time to time, but it's not at a rate frequent enough to really make things easier for Deni and the Portland offense. Shaedon was supposed to be that driver, but man, he's just dealt with a ton of injuries. Same with Scoot. I believe Scoot didn't make his season debut until like late February. I'm not trying to exaggerate, like whenever I tune into a Trailblazers game and when Deni gives the ball to someone like Tumani or Chris Murray and they just straight up cannot drive or dribble past their defender because it's simply not in their arsenal, it's not their package, they're more so like somewhat capable 3-and-D shooters. Like, the amount of times that has happened, it's just way too much. Like, Portland, they cannot afford any of that. So I can see that as another problem that Ja can just step in and solve immediately. And hey, if Ja's efficiency can get back up to what it was before when he was on top of the world, then that's a good bonus. Honestly, I cannot emphasize how special that's going to be, especially if the guy that Ja is kicking the ball out to is Deni. Deni doesn't have to do catch and shoot, although he's certainly capable of knocking it down, as that's another aspect he's improved upon, but he could just drive with the opening lane that Ja has presented. No longer will Deni have to manifest some drives off of several pick and roll screens. Now he has someone that can simply do that job, and once he catches that ball, boom, turbos going straight down, foul call and one, you name it. Now, before we move on to other news, there is one big negative kind of sticking out like a sore thumb, albeit it's not the worst problem in the world, but it's definitely something to take note of, and that's just the amount of guards Portland has at their disposal. Obviously, this signals that someone is going to be the odd man out. We really don't know. It could be Scoot, Jrue, whoever, but I do feel like Jrue is the guy that Portland has to just find another suitor for. He's also getting up there in age, and also that contract he has, yeah, I don't think it's an uncommon statement to say that it's not really the best right now. I do feel like with the new handicaps and the CBA, second apron, yada yada, maybe not this upcoming season, but the seasons down the line, Jrue's contract might affect Portland heavily. And there are some teams that have a bunch of cap space available in this offseason. Not a lot, but I feel like way more suitors than we had previously expected. So I feel like calling a team like Los Angeles or Detroit, calling them up, getting a solid return, it's feasible, and that's why I'm more of an advocate of dealing Jrue away. But again, that's a hypothetical nonetheless, just my suggestion. And yeah, you get a reinvigorated Ja. A Ja who really wants to be there now, really wants to prove all the doubters wrong, start a new chapter. Plus, there's only 2 years left on his contract, so if worst case scenario happens and things don't work out, it's not really the end of the world. Yeah, if Jrue Holiday goes to Detroit too, that would be nasty. I mean, oh my goodness. Which I guess is a nice transition to our next topic in this offseason video. Jalen Duren, the negotiations, yeah, sounds like they're going pretty badly. Now, I get it from both perspectives. This is one of those things where I can see both sides. For Duren's side, it makes sense why he would demand a lot of money, especially since he was such a critical piece of one of the more successful Detroit Pistons teams in recent memory. He made the All-Star team, he made third All-NBA selection, he already established such a nice alley-oop connection with Cade Cunningham. However, when we look at Detroit front office perspective, I'm pretty sure they're thinking what most of the NBA community is thinking, like, bro, you do know we saw the playoffs, right? Everyone saw the playoffs. You know, judging from his play, he looked lost and getting outplayed by pretty much your third big man on the depth chart in Paul Reed. That's not a great sign. And I do understand the speculation of a team like Los Angeles coming in and just offering him the Supermax or something like that. There are even reports where Sacramento may be in on the action. If Duren leaves, you're not going to have that many options left available, especially on the free agent market. You already traded Isaiah Stewart. Even when we take a look at the free agency options, Precious Achiuwa, Robert Williams, and Draymond Green, because he just recently declined his player option. But even then, that group is so limited because obviously the history with Draymond and Golden State. New York would obviously love to run it back with Mitchell Robinson. Robert Williams has his own injury issues. Like, there's not much. And sure, maybe you can sign and trade Duren, get someone valuable in return, but valuable big men don't really grow on trees. I mean, now that the Kings are involved in these rumors, maybe a Sabonis-Duren swap is more feasible. I mean, Detroit definitely has a lot of defensive pieces to make up for Sabonis' defensive woes, but he's also a piece that I feel like wouldn't really take them over the top. So it's tough, man. It's really tough. They re-signed Kevin Huerter though, so that's something. I guess we can go over what else has happened today. Kristaps Porzingis returns to Golden State in a 2-year, $40 million deal. I'm not surprised that he returned, I'm just surprised at the contract he got, because you guys already know the case with him. When he's available, he can be impactful, just like in that Los Angeles Clippers play-in game. Actually, now that I think about it, the play-in might be the perfect symbolization of what playing with KP is, because, as I mentioned against the Clippers, he was definitely effective, but he got dinged up in that Phoenix game, and we could say that Golden State for sure missed his presence. OKC also picks up Luka and Stort's team option while they decline Kenrich Williams' team option. For Kenny Hustle, yeah, it sucks that he got declined, but I kinda knew his fate was sealed when Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins were gone. Like, if those two wouldn't make it, yeah, I'm not sure if you would have either, but I'm sure there are still a lot of teams quite interested in him. The OKC was so talented that he didn't have enough room for PT. I believe he still got a lot left in the tank to offer, so And last but not least, Devin Carter, along with a second round pick, gets traded to Atlanta, and I understand why Sacramento made this move because they're giving a lot of touches to Akov, Nick Clifford, Emmanuel Sharp, their 45th pick of the 26 NBA draft, and Zach LaVine opting into his player option doesn't really help either, but this is just another sting to Kings history. I mean, just the fact that you have to attach a second round pick, and as of this moment of Shams reporting that deal, you get nothing in return, most likely cash considerations. I would say it's a miss, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but when I take a look back at the 24 NBA draft and see who gets selected later, Khalil Ware with the 15th pick, Jared McCain one spot after, Keyshawn George and Isaiah Collier in the late round, like, man, I'm not saying that if Sacramento selected those players, they'll be in a better spot right now, but it's rough. Hey, it's a new chapter. Sacramento Kings fans definitely do not need any more stuff piled onto them, so. But yeah, Portland fans, Memphis fans, NBA fans, wherever you are at, let me know what you guys think. If free agency starts tomorrow, like, I can't complain as an NBA fan. I cannot complain. Thank you for watching, and yeah, see you tomorrow.